4 minutes ago, giant Gilgamesh just found under the Euphrates River. Uncover the astounding mysteries of the drying Euphrates River, once a source of life and prosperity in the Middle East in a remarkable twist. The river's parched bed has unveiled the long-lost tomb of Gilgamesh, the legendary hero thought lost to time. Controversial videos have surfaced online claiming to capture this extraordinary discovery. Let's take a look at what is happening. Let's take a step back and examine the history of the Euphrates as well as the themes and significance of the Epic of Gilgamesh before we move too quickly. The Euphrates River, which originates in Turkey and flows through Syria and Iraq, was formerly referred to as the Father of Rivers and has had a tremendous impact on human history for thousands of years. The individuals who have lived along its banks have found inspiration for their own lives as well as strife. Imagine the world's first civilizations emerging in ancient Mesopotamia beside a gorgeous river. This is the Euphrates, a river that has seen the emergence of new religions, the decline of ancient empires, and the advancement of human civilization for the local populace. Ancient civilizations like the Sumerians, Babylonians, and Assyrians viewed the Euphrates as more than just a river. It was a sacred and spiritual object. The Euphrates was seen as a divine force, a source of life, fertility, and prosperity by various cultures. The river's significance grew over time as a crucial commerce route linking the local civilizations to the rest of the world. With important events taking place on its banks, the Euphrates has also witnessed the emergence of Abrahamic religions. For instance, it is thought that the Garden of Eden lay somewhere in or near Mesopotamia, near the Euphrates. However, in recent years, the Euphrates has encountered significant environmental challenges. Due to reasons like climate change, misuse, and dam construction, the river's water levels have been dropping, which has caused tensions between the countries that depend on it, as well as disputes between populations upstream and downstream. In the earliest known story in history, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the king of the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk is said to have searched for the plant of eternal youth in the Euphrates River. Given the current condition of the river, the prophecy takes on a whole new significance. Could the Euphrates River drying up be the fulfillment of Gilgamesh's prophecy? The fascinating collection of ancient Mesopotamian tales known as the Epic of Gilgamesh chronicles the incredible deeds performed by King Uruk, a figure who was 2/3 divine and 1/3 human. He mistreated his people, violated women at his whim, and forced labor upon them for his construction projects. The gods, dismayed by his tyranny, intervened by creating a wild man named Enkidu to subdue him. Enkidu, who would eventually become Gilgamesh's closest companion, initially lived among the beasts of the wilderness unnoticed. Gilgamesh and Enkidu return to their house to discover a peculiar discovery after having vanquished the ferocious bull of heaven. The goddess of love, Ishtar, had fallen madly in love with Gilgamesh, but when he turned her down, she begged her father to send a roaring bull as a divine retribution. The gods decided that Enkidu must pay with his life, even if the friends once more triumphed. Due to his fear of dying, Gilgamesh was left in a condition of desolation and grieving for his fallen friend. Gilgamesh sets off on a quest to track down Utnapishtim, a person who has been granted endless life by the gods. His journey takes him along perilous routes that are shrouded in darkness, and he eventually crosses the Sea of Death and encounters Utnapishtim, who informs him that his quest for immortality is futile. Gilgamesh, however, is persistent and tenacious and keeps going until Utnapishtim sends him out to return home with a ferryman. This is where Gilgamesh is said to have been buried, according to mythology. Lies below the Euphrates River's present route. Archaeologists working in Iraq purported the idea that they may have found the lost tomb of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was the ruler of the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk and was the protagonist in the earliest documented story in the annals of human history. In the 3rd millennium BC, the story known as the Epic of Gilgamesh was written down on clay tablets in the Sumerian language. Around the middle of the 27th century BC, the narrative served as a memorial for the life of the individual who ruled the city of Uruk at the time in question. Uruk was not only one of the oldest cities in the region, but also one of the most powerful, and one that survived the longest. It is possible that the modern nation of Iraq got its name from this very city. However, the validity of that claim is contested. In 2003, an expedition that was led by Germany announced that it had found what was believed to be the entirety of the city of Uruk, including the final burial place of its legendary ruler. This location is one in which the city would have been surrounded by the waters of the Euphrates before the river changed its course. According to Jörg Fassbinder, the head of the Bavarian Department of Historical Monuments in Munich, I don't want to say definitely that it was the grave of Gilgamesh, but it looks very similar to that described in the Epic. Gilgamesh is said to have been laid to rest beneath the Euphrates in a tomb that was reportedly built after the waters of the old river split following his death, according to the narrative, which was written on a pair of clay tablets and then engraved. The tablets were discovered in modern-day Turkey. Mr. Fassbinder stated that we found just outside the city an area in the middle of the former Euphrates River, the remains of such a building that could be interpreted as a burial. He explained that the remarkable discovery of the ancient city buried beneath the sands of the Iraqi desert has been made possible by technological advancements. Mr. Fassbinder continued by saying that one can look into the ground by analyzing variances in the magnetization of the soil. The differentiation that can be seen in the Euphrates between the mud bricks and the sediments provides a very detailed structure. This results in the creation of a magnetogram, which is subsequently digitally plotted, providing an effective town plan of Uruk. Mr. Fassbinder noted that the most astonishing thing was that they found structures that had already been depicted in the Gilgamesh epic. We traversed an area that was greater than 100 hectares. We have unearthed garden structures and field structures that are mentioned in the epic, and we have identified dwellings that were built in Babylonia. However, he continued by saying that the most incredible discovery was a network of canals that was extraordinarily complex. It was very obvious to us that flooding caused some of the dwellings to be destroyed, since we can see structures in the canals that indicate this. And this indicates that a highly developed system formerly existed here. It was like Venice, but in the middle of the desert. The ancient civilizations that once flourished in Mesopotamia, which is the territory that is situated between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, have long held a strong fascination for people from all over the world. Mesopotamia is a territory that has been inhabited for thousands of years and has a rich cultural and historical history. It is also recognized as the cradle of civilization, which gives the region its other name. The Euphrates River is one of the most prominent elements of this region and has been one of the most important factors in the development of Mesopotamian civilization. The Tigris and the Euphrates rivers are the two most important rivers in Mesopotamia. The Euphrates River is the larger of the two. Together, the waters of these rivers have made it possible for people to continue living in this region for countless generations. The Euphrates, which flows through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq before draining into the Persian Gulf, is approximately 1,740 kilometers long. As a result of having a reliable supply of water for irrigation, agricultural expansion, and urbanization were both made possible as a result of this factor. In addition, the Euphrates River played an important part in the religion and mythology of Mesopotamia. The river was revered as a divine presence in ancient Mesopotamia, and as a result, a wide variety of religious rites were carried out in its remembrance. There were numerous traditions concerning the origin of the river as well as its significance, and it was frequently given the status of a deity. When the Euphrates River stops flowing, significant events such as the second coming of Jesus Christ and the rapture may take place, according to a prophecy in the Bible. Other possible occurrences include the tribulation period. According to the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12, the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, to prepare the way for the kings from the east. The Euphrates River begins its journey in Turkey and then travels through Syria and Iraq before meeting up with the Tigris River at Shat al-Arab, which eventually empties into the Persian Gulf. However, in recent years, the Tigris-Euphrates River system has been drying up, which has raised concerns among scientists, historians, and the people who live along the banks of the river. The flow of the river has slowed down dramatically, and in some areas it has stopped flowing altogether. Because of this, the people who live in what is now known as Mesopotamia have been profoundly affected. For thousands of years, these people have depended on the river for their very existence. A report commissioned by the government in 2021 expressed concern that the rivers would become completely dry by the year 2040. The primary reason for the decline in water flow is climate change, which has resulted in a fall in the amount of precipitation while simultaneously causing temperatures to rise. The drying up of the river has also been exacerbated by the construction of dams and other initiatives aimed at better managing water resources. After collecting photographs of this region in 2013, the Gravity Recovery and Climate Experience, also known as GRACE satellites of NASA, discovered that the Tigris and Euphrates River basins had lost 144 cubic kilometers, or about 34 cubic miles, of fresh water since 2003. In addition, GRACE data reveal an alarming rate of decline in total water storage in the Tigris and Euphrates River basins. At the moment, these river basins have the second quickest rate of groundwater storage loss on the planet, behind only India. After the drought that occurred in 2007, the rate became extremely dramatic. In the meantime, there is an ongoing increase in the demand for potable water, but the region is unable to coordinate the management of its water resources due to divergent interpretations of international regulations. People living in Turkey, Syria, and Iraq have been significantly impacted as a result of the Euphrates River running dry in recent decades. Agriculture, which for many people in the region has been their primary means of support, has taken a significant hit as a result of the disaster. The shortage of water has made it harder for farmers to irrigate their crops, which has resulted in decreased yields and increased financial strain on the farming community. The decrease in water flow has also affected the amount of drinkable water that is available. The fact that many people in the area are now forced to rely on water that is unfit for human consumption has contributed to a rise in the prevalence of waterborne diseases such as diarrhea, chickenpox, measles, typhoid fever, cholera, and a variety of other illnesses. To put it another way, the region would be in for a world of hurt if the river system were to completely fail. The people who lived in the historical land experienced a change in their culture as a result of the Euphrates River drying up. Along the banks of the river can be found a significant number of historical sites and artifacts from the area. The lack of water in the river has made it harder for archaeologists to access these sites, which in turn has increased the likelihood that these sites would be damaged or destroyed. The reduction in water level in the Euphrates River has also resulted in the discovery of some surprising things. Archaeological sites that were previously submerged in the river have become visible as the water level in the river has decreased. Archaeologists have been able to gain access to these sites, which has led to the discovery of fresh information regarding the Mesopotamian civilization. The ancient city of Dura Europos was uncovered as a result of the Euphrates River completely drying up. This was one of the most remarkable discoveries. This city, which was established in the 3rd century BC and became an important center of Hellenistic civilization, was later overrun by the Romans and the Parthians. After being deserted in the 3rd century AD, the city was eventually obliterated by sand and sediment carried downstream by the river. As the river receded, the city became visible, and archaeologists were able to uncover a great deal of the city's wealth as a result. That's all for the video today, but we'll be right back soon. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.